Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the streaming Wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where each Friday I pick a streaming service and select three previously released films off of that service. And hopefully, by the end of this episode, you have a nice full weekend full of movies to go check out. And for this week, we're going to be focusing on Amazon Prime Video, so films that are available through that streaming service. And we got some variety across the history of cinema. And we're going to start things off with the most modern one, which is back in 2007, an instant classic, a modern masterpiece, and that is the Coen brothers' No Country for Old Men. And this film is a haunting, desolate, and very nihilistic look at the evolution of humanity and the darkness that brews underneath it and the struggle of those who have power but not enough to do anything about the changing tide of society. And this film takes place in 1980. This neo-western has all of the amazing trappings that you want out of a neo-western. The cinematography from Roger Deakins is just out of this world. There's very little music from Carter Burwell actually used in the film, but it uses its silence and sound design so effectively. There's something so interesting and unnerving about the detail that this film is able to operate on. And the visual storytelling is masterful in terms of how it does not spoon feed the audience ever. And its subversion of so many things makes this such a compelling and such a fascinating and unique cinematic experience. You have the thrills of that cat and mouse chase between Josh Brolin's Llewellyn and Javier Bardem's on Anton Chigurh. That sequence is terrifying and haunting and intense and bloody and brutal. You have Brolin who plays this man who finds himself in a bad situation and that he can't get himself out of. Javier Bardem portrays the most accurate and intense psychopath you're going to see in cinema. And his performance is terrifying, including being both really funny and uncomfortable in that one gas station sequence where he asks the man to call it. But it's Tommy Lee Jones as Sheriff Tom Bell who really anchors this film. His impre- just impressive and on point voiceover from the beginning of the film, and just his presence all the way up to his depiction of his dreams at the end of the film. There's so many bone-chilling moments throughout this film, and their adaptation of Cormac McCarthy is absolute perfection. This is a towering achievement of filmmaking, an incredible cast from Brolin to Bardem to Tommy Lee Jones to Woody Harrelson, Stephen Root, Kelly MacDonald, and so many great character actors thrown in there. This is a Coen Brothers film. It is very darkly funny, but also very intense and bleak as hell. Next up, we're going to turn the clock way back to 1946, and this is The Best Years of Our Lives in this almost 3 hour drama from director William Wyler. Captures the story of men coming back from World War II, and so many films from World War II focus on the glory of what our boys were able to do when they went off to war and fight one of the most evil entities in humanity, and all the hate and what we were able to accomplish. But this film takes that drama in a different direction and focuses on what happens when you come home. How do you adjust? Harold Russell, who plays Homer Parrish, who in real life lost his hands, and here plays a character who lost the same. And the challenges, the whole new life that Homer has to experience, and Russell brings such honesty and authenticity, and it won him an Oscar. And you have the likes of Dana Andrews and Frederick March who deliver powerful and affecting and relatable performances as these men as they navigate their new lives, expectations, how their relationships have changed after what they've seen and what they've done and what they've been through. This film is quite long, but it is so effective in really capturing the aftermath of war, the effects of war, the looming elements that sit with us as you leave that place where so much horror was experienced and come home and you can't just shake it. And the struggle of finding employment and finding your place in life again. This film is so earnest and moving and inspirational, hopeful, and challenging. Weiler is able to capture this sprawling, intimate drama. Seems like a strange contradiction, but for a 3-hour film that feels so very personal, this is something that really hooks you, pulls you in, and you're there with these men as they try to find new life after such a horrible experience where they put their lives on the line to save others. And this is one of those films that really has stood the test of time and really captures an element that not enough films really look at in terms of what happens when that life is over, and we have seen it in other films, and here this was probably the first that really captured and explored these themes and ideas, and it is quite the moving experience for sure. And lastly, for this week, we're going to go back up to 1970, another war type film, but also another close to 3-hour film, but very different. This is from screenwriter Francis Ford Coppola, director Franklin J. Schaffner, and starring George C. Scott as the legendary General George S. Patton. And the film, Patton. This film is one of the greatest biopics ever created. The direction that Schaffner delivers is crisp and sprawling and engaging and just impressive filmmaking from start to finish. The scale, the camera work, how it's able to capture everything, but also the intimate look into the life, the perspective, the experiences of Patton, this general who has been elevated in the minds of so many and brought down and stripped down in the eyes of many of his superiors. And this film, George C. Scott gives one of the greatest performances of all time with such an impressive and powerful performance that is so very confident and does not let up, does not fool around. And it's something that this film does not pull punches. It really captures the essence of who Patton was, and it gives an interesting perspective of so many because of his brashness, his recklessness. Those in the US government and our allies did not trust him, but he was the one the Germans were afraid of in the context of this film. You have some big sprawling tank battle scenes, that incredible opening sequence, that speech from Patton. No son of a bitch won a war by dying for his country, made won the war by making the other one die for his. And that is such a Patton thing for sure. And he is such an interesting and compelling figure in US history and in the legacy of World War II. And this film really captures that. And Scott's performance is towering and impactful, and it's hard to shake. And you have the likes of Carl Malden, an amazing character actor, as Omar Bradley, who delivers in that role for sure. And there's so many impactful sequences throughout this film that will just sit with you. This is a film that really captures the perspective and the presence of this man who is so interesting and compelling in his own right, on top of the legacy that he left. And my grandfather fought under Patton during World War II. And this film was a film that I watched with him a lot. I'm a huge proponent of this film and checking it out. because Patton was a compelling figure, and the figure that George C. Scott brings to life in this is such a compelling anti-hero, and what his perspectives and how he handled things, and there's such great tension and drama throughout. This is and the music is so iconic on top of that, from composer Jerry Goldsmith. But in the end of the day, this is an impressive and powerful biopic that is certainly worth your time. But that is a wrap here on another episode of the Streaming Wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. But in summation, we're going to check out Amazon Prime Video and check out 2007's No Country for Old Men, 1946's The Best Years of Our Lives, and 1970's Patton. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. And what's your favorite Coen Brothers film? What's your favorite coming home type story? And what's your favorite biopic? Make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPNM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. We have so many great shows with so many interests. You'll find something that you'll enjoy, especially if you love movies. We got plenty of that. And if you want to join the crew, contact us on our website to be a guest on one of these shows or start your own podcast. And if you like our logo, check out High Flyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the streaming wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.